In this video, we're going to take a look at simplifying using powers of I. So first, the question is, what is I? So what kind of numbers do not exist? Well, this is easy to answer. What numbers don't exist? Imaginary numbers, right? So imaginary numbers. But then the question is, what is an imaginary number? Well, we know that we use I to represent our imaginary numbers, but I is this new number. It is the square root of a negative number. So the square root of -1, we would never write this in the answer, but we use I instead. So that's our imaginary numbers. So when we have I to different powers, we can reduce it. So there are the first 4 powers of I that we need to know. So either you can understand how we get those first 4 powers or just memorize it. So I is equal to I. So when you have I in your expression, you just leave it as I. We don't change I to anything else. So that's the first one. I squared. So I squared, well, like I said before, I is the square root of a negative number, -1. And then when we square it, it cancels the radical, and we're just left with a -1. So I squared is equal to -1. I to the third, well, that's if we just multiply I times I squared. So I times -1 is -I. And then I to the fourth, you can just do I squared multiplied by itself twice. So -1 times -1 is equal to a +1. Okay, so when we go to simplify these powers, every time with the exponent, you divide it by 4. So we divide it by 4 because every fourth I is equal to 1. So if we divide this into groups of 4, it's like 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So we're trying to cancel out those 1s and see what's left over. So here I have I to the 41. So I'm going to divide 41 by 4. Notice this is the division. We have just like kind of a curve there. This is a radical. So this is a difference. So this is a radical, this is division. This is not what we're using here. Okay, this doesn't have a hook on it. Okay, 4 goes into 41, so this is our long division. So you look at the first number, 4 goes into 4 once. 4 times 1 is 4, so I write that underneath. And then subtract 4 minus 4 is 0, bring down the 1. 4 does not go into 1, so 1 would be our remainder. So when we have a remainder of 1, that's the same as our exponent, I to the first. Okay, so that would be our exponent for it. Another way to do it is when you go to use your calculator, we can do 41 divided by 4, and we have 0.25, and when you end up with 0.25 on your calculator, that means your exponent is 1. So I to the first, or just I would be your answer. Okay, so the next one, I to the 84. Well, how many times does 4 go into 84? 4 goes into 8 twice. 4 times 2 is 8. When you subtract, you have 0. Bring down the 4. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 times 1 is 4. And when you subtract, I have a remainder of 0. So remainder of 0, also using the calculator, 84 divided by 4, we have a decimal of 0. So when you have a remainder of 0, it's the same as I to the fourth, or 1. Another way you can think about it, anything to the exponent of 0 is equal to 1. So that's another way. But just knowing that when you have 0 as your remainder, your answer is going to be just 1. Okay, now I have I to the 58. So I'm going to divide 4 into 58. 4 goes into 5 once. 4 times 1 is 4, and subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 8. 4 goes into 18. Let's see, 18. 4 times 4 times 4, 16. And then when you subtract, you have a remainder of 2. So this would be I squared. So my remainder becomes my exponent. So same thing here, remainder becomes the exponent, and this one, just knowing that remainder 0 is the same as I to the 4th. So I squared is equal to -1. Also with the calculator, if I do 58 divided by 4, we have 0.5, and 0.5 means exponent of 2. Okay, last one here, 103. So I'm going to divide 103 by 4. Okay, so with long division, 4 can't go into 1, but it can go into 10 twice. And then 4 times 2 is 8, so I put 8 underneath, subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2, bring down the 3. And then 4 won't go into 23 exactly, but when we multiply it by 5, we'll get close. 4 times 5 is 20. And subtract, we have remainder of 3. So this is now my exponent, I to the 3rd. So that becomes my exponent. And then also with the calculator, 103 divided by 4 is 25.75. 0.75 means exponent of 3, and I to the 3rd is equal to -I. Okay, so our goal when we simplify using powers of I, we never want I with an exponent. Notice how all of our answers, we have I, 1, -1, -I. That's what our answer should look like. We should never have I to any kind of exponent in our final simplified answer.